Hello and welcome into Camel Call Friday. I'm Chris Hemeyer, and it is my pleasure to welcome into the podcast our Director of Athletics, Hannah Bazemore. Give me some time to brag here. She is a two-time Campbell grad, and in 12 years of experience working with Campbell Athletics, she has engaged and managed virtually every administrative area: operations, budgeting, information technology, facilities, game operations, athletic equipment operations, capital projects. She's been on the executive team. She's done a little bit of everything here, and now she's in the top spot. Thank you so much for joining us on the show. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Chris, for that, and thanks for having me.
What are your first memories of Campbell?
So my parents both attended and graduated from Campbell, and sometime after that, my dad became a board member. And so some of my earliest memories were coming to campus when I was very young, and we would come when my dad had board of trustee members. And I remember going to volleyball games and basketball games in Carter Gym, and my brother and I would always go to the bookstore that was in Britt Hall, and always take home a new shirt whenever we would leave. And that was always a good experience, something to look forward to. But we essentially grew up with Campbell being such a big part of our lives and being on campus quite a bit. I remember when I was 14, I believe, or maybe 15, I went with my dad to watch our women's basketball team play Duke in the NCAA tournament. And Wanda even remembers us sitting right behind the bench, and that was pretty cool. But I have some really fond memories of my childhood being on campus. So when I decided to attend college, Campbell was always number one choice for me. And my brother was already here as a freshman, and he and I are pretty close, so having an opportunity to join him at Campbell was something to look forward to.
As a student, you fell even deeper in love with this place. Why was this place so special?
I had a really great experience as a student, and for me, that care that everyone had for students was really special. I felt like I was more than just a number, more than just a student sitting in a classroom, but I felt seen and included and a part of a place and a mission that for me still holds true today. And so this place, what it stands for, that calling to be part of something bigger, it's hard to describe, like that intangible feeling, but it's so important and so true about this place and the people here. There was a closeness and a oneness I felt as a student, and the campus experience was great for me.
I think I shorted you a little bit because I said you worked 12 years. That was post-grad, of course, in the athletic department, but you first started working in the Campbell athletic department when you were a student as a student worker, didn't you?
I did. My first job in the athletic department at Campbell was actually being a manager for the women's basketball team.
Wow, and Wanda Watkins.
Yep. It was a great semester. I only did it one semester. I realized very quickly that coaching was not my future. But I wanted to be around the department, so I joined the operations staff as a student worker under Debbie Richardson, and really started to kind of find my way. At first, I was mowing grass, so on a lawnmower. Sometimes I was painting soccer fields and running concession stands and some crowd control at games. But I did at least once just about anything that you can think of with facilities and operations. But Debbie really had high standards and ran a tight ship in every area of this department. So working under her leadership and having her as a mentor all of those years, it really prepared me for this role more than I probably ever gave her credit for back in the day. But the culture she created and that accountability and discipline, those non-negotiables have stuck with me and really played a part in the development for me personally, all those, for 10 or 12 years.
So it seems like it was a pretty, I would say, easy decision and something that you really wanted to when, after you graduated, you worked in the athletic department full time.
Yep, I did. I graduated in 2007 with an undergrad, and I knew I wanted to continue on and get my MBA at Campbell. And at that time, I was still working in the department as an intern and really narrowing down what I wanted to do career-wise and how I saw myself fitting in the department. So when I graduated in 2009 with my MBA, the gentleman that was in the business role took another job, and Campbell took a chance on me. And so right out of school, it's kind of unheard of, but I was so thankful I was afforded that opportunity. And the department was really small in number at that time, and I held a role where I was the business manager, the ticket manager, and the equipment manager. And so it was a heavy workload, but I learned so much about myself and what all I could handle and how to really sharpen some skills to make it work. So, I settled in and we figured it out, and I'd say we started to really at that time make some headway with elevating this department.
And elevate you did through these over a decade of you being a full-time. We've laid out and you've laid out all of the different things you've touched, literally every single part of this department. But you said yes to the big job. Why did you say yes to become our director of athletics?
For me, it really was a no-brainer. I have felt called to stay at Campbell all of these years, as many doors have kind of closed outside of Campbell. This one stayed open. So to be able to continue serving this university and our student athletes and having the opportunity to impact and transform the lives of student athletes through sports is a dream. And to be able to do that here, wow, it's special.
You have such a connection to this place. I wonder now, you told us why you fell in love with this place as a student and right after when you began working in the athletic department. Why do you love this place now?
I believe in what it stands for. Its mission of purposeful living is so important, and it aligns with who I am as a person and a leader. And at Campbell, having the ability to dream big and to have big vision and know that can be achieved here through hard work and having a plan and having the right people a part of the team, all laying brick after brick to accomplish some pretty incredible things here. To know that can happen here, that's what makes Campbell really special for me. I mean, the sky's the limit, and I'll tell you, Chris, we haven't even reached our potential, and that's worth investing in to be a part of something great. With a team around you that's all in, and administration and student body and campus community, and really the surrounding community, it's so supportive and so engaged. I mean, it's pretty great, and I'm just thankful and honored to be here.
Well, we are thankful that you said yes to the job. This is fun. We have a lot more to explore. Will you come back sometime?
Anytime.
All right. She is our director of athletics, Hannah Bazemore. Evan and I will be back to talk some sports after this. You're listening to Camel Call Friday.
Thanks to donors like you, the Fighting Camel Club provides championship resources for Campbell student athletes. Over the last 3 years, donations to the FCC have helped fund facility enhancements and coach-driven projects that have pushed the Fighting Camels to win 27 conference championships. For more information on how you can donate to the Fighting Camel Club, visit gocamels.com and click on the Give icon. The Fighting Camel Club, providing championship resources for Campbell student athletes.
Hey, welcome back to Camel Call Friday. Final segment here with Evan Budrovich. I'm Chris Hemeyer, and we'll come off the backs of the great interview with our new athletic director, Hannah Bazemore, and we talked about it a little bit in the interview, but what has been so great about having her, and again, I could give you a whole list, and hopefully you heard us go over some of those things, but the fact that she has been here first as a student and then working in operations and then working on the business side and being in upper administration, she has hit the ground running, knowing some quick, easy, some quick, not so easy things to do that have already changed some things that those listening to us and fans might not notice yet, but a lot of things going in the right direction because she knows exactly what to do and how to do them.
Number one, morale has boosted. Support staff, coaching staff, investment in what the direction of the program is. And that's so important, especially post-COVID when you're searching for vision and guidance and someone who is literally been here from
Yeah.
the ground floor with her father, Dennis Bazemore, is the old dean of student life. So she knows what to fix, and she has relationships with all these coaches. Some as their direct contacts, and some just being around them for 10 years. So that's going to be great. And then, too, this is her old office where we film this podcast, the warehouse.
Yeah, that's right. Here we are.
In right field of baseball.
Yep.
So she used to have all the check requisitions would go in, and you print them out, and you fill out your credit card, and you slide them in. So, no, it's been great. And even from a university side, with us dealing with Campbell Athletics and the Campbell University, there's been just a better working relationship. So she understands that dynamic, too, and how to get everyone on the same
Yeah,
page.
and that's one of the great things. It wasn't like, hey, we have to get to know this new AD. It's like, oh, we've known her and how well she works. And again, the cooperation is important, and it was seamless. So the best is yet to come, as
Wow,
she will say.
you're on the Justin Harrisms.
Yep.
So
as they will say,
His staff has coined roll humps.
Yep.
Or I guess his fans
Right.
have coined roll humps, and the best is yet to come.
Yeah, that's right. He's a trendsetter. Our own.
We need some
Our own
buzzword
Justin
conferences with Justin.
There's no
because
doubt.
he knows the buzzwords.
He does. Study hard, Camels, because it is finals week, and so the rare time, really, any time in the calendar, we start things with soccer. It seems like in early August now, and then keep rolling all the way through May. But there is a week of no competition as everybody takes their finals and everything like that. But some fun stuff coming up as the men's basketball team will be home. There's that doubleheader with Education Day. 11:30 a.m. for the women. The men will play at a special 6 o'clock time against William Peace, and then the ladies will head to Las Vegas to do their
Viva
tournament.
Las Vegas.
Your second home there. The men will go to Georgia Southern, and then the big Christmas game, Campbell at 2 o'clock on December 21st. Christmas week will take on their rivals, UNC Wilmington, who will be a conference foe once again coming up next year.
You buried the lead, though. UNCW is a rivalry game, but it's also a Camel Claws game.
That's true.
So Gaylord and Gladys will be dressed up in their Christmas gear.
It'll be a lot of fun. Speaking of Christmas gear, either Gaylord or I think it's going to be Gladys. We're having a special Christmas episode of the Camel Call Live podcast. Folks, let me tell you, if you like Camel Call Friday, you're going to love Camel Call Live. If you're listening to this, you know the podcast drops on Tuesday. But we do a live show, 6:30 to 7:30. Every Monday night at the county seat. We've transitioned from our fall sports into our winter sports, so we're going to have both head women's coach Ronnie Fisher, head men's coach Kevin McGeehan. We're going to have Gladys there, pictures, giveaways.
I thought
It's
you
gonna
were
be a lot
going
of
to
fun.
interview Gladys.
No.
And really go next
She
level.
doesn't talk. She really doesn't talk. She doesn't talk. Our wrestling team, fresh off their exciting home match against Virginia, they'll go to the Purdue Duels. Coming up on the weekend of December 20th, and then they'll take a very short Christmas break, and we've got a great home match with them coming up January 7th. They'll take on Gardner-Webb, and then Nebraska comes to Bowie's Creek, so that shows you their high profile. Oh, by the way, thrown into all of that, we've got football signing day, and it looks like it's going to be another good one for Mike Mentor and his crew.
Number one FCS recruiting class last December, and then you finish it off in February with your transfers and your extra signees. So right now, as we speak this week, a top 70 FBS, FCS, the whole umbrella signing class, 18 hard commits so far, which doesn't mean you signed anything official, but come signing day, you fill out the paperwork. I bet compliance sits by an old fax machine and waits for the paper. I know they do it online now, but I think of the videos of like the fax machine rolling in the paper that said the kid signed. But that morning, it's sort of like Christmas in the football office.
Yeah.
There's donuts, there's food, music's playing. All these kids sign. You get a 3-day window to sign in the fall. A lot of them will do it that first day at their high school, sitting at a table doing the whole thing. But over that 3-day process, at least 18 to 20 kids will sign, maybe more. Campbell has a lot more scholarships than they did in the past because here we are, year 6 now of scholarship football. Some of those first scholarship
Finally up
kids
to the full amount. Yeah.
You get to your full 65, and you can then build from there with your partials. And so it's a really big day. And then when you're top 70 in the country,
that's incredible. And just to let you know, it wasn't just a number you're throwing out. Top 70 seems, oh, that's okay. That's not top 70 in FCS. That's top 70 in all of Division I football. So you're in with FBS, and you said teams like East Carolina, Campbell has a better freshman recruiting class than according to the Stars.
Yeah, let's build the context here. So 24/7 Sports, they're
Right.
the gurus of star ratings. I'm a man, Mike Gundy, 66. The Chippewas of Central
from Oklahoma
Michigan,
State.
67. The Campbell Camels, 68.
Yeah.
And then Washington State, who won 7 or 8 games at the FBS level, is just behind Campbell. Now,
Yeah.
it's a conglomerate. You take the average rating and the number of prospects. So it doesn't necessarily mean these are the best teams in the country, but it's a lot of talent. And FCS programs, there's no one at that level. And let's be frank, Jackson State's recruiting is going to take a slight dip. I am very happy for Deion Sanders and the light he shined on that program, but the slate has been cleaned in terms of FCS elite recruiting. Now, what does that mean moving forward? You got to build and develop them and make them better. But we saw Miles Rouser and Paul Hudson and a bunch of Cheney, the receiver, Fitzgerald. So you get a couple of those guys every year, and all of a sudden it's like, wow, our whole offense and whole defense is elite players.
And look, since East Carolina fans listen to everything and they know when anything is said against them that puts them in a bad light, there's one looking out there right now that's about to tweet away and say, oh no, that's just out of high school when you throw in the transfers we have coming. ECU's overall recruiting class this year will be better than Campbell's. Okay, and that's a strategy that Campbell has utilized. How did they get a number one recruiting class? They go for guys that have 2, 3, and 4 stars who a year ago had a bunch of FBS schools against them. And what happens is the FBS guys and the coach that are on the hot seat, they're going to take these Power 5 all-conference guys instead of taking a quote-unquote risk on a high school guy that the stars always don't pan out. And no matter how good you are, it usually takes you a while to adjust and to make an impact right away as a freshman, as a true freshman in FBS football. So Campbell is scooping up these 3 and 4 stars that suddenly no longer have a place. And it's a different generation, Evan, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it's a generation that looks more to,
The
can
profile
I
of the
play
school.
right away?
Right.
Is this a fit for me? Have you guys been paying me a lot of attention? I mean, it's kids that have grown up with social media and getting the instant feedback, and Campbell is doing that, and Campbell is legitimately getting these 3 and 4 star guys. These aren't guys that have blown out their knee. These aren't guys that got into trouble at high school. These are 3 or 4 stars that 5 years ago would have gone to an ECU or a UNC or an NC State. That doesn't matter as much of them. They want to go somewhere. They want to make an impact, and they think they can do that at Campbell.
I think the Chad Masco story tells this perfectly.
Yeah.
So he played at IMG Academy. It's an elite prep school that
One of the
focuses on
best.
sports development.
Yep.
He did not start for 2 of his years there, then transferred out. So we didn't have all the big offers and the recruits. And yes, he had some names, but the coaches never saw him play. It was kind of hit or miss. And then he goes to his high school the final year, and our staff found him and was on him early and was talking to him every week. And you know how they are. You call him and text him and DM him and you visit him in person multiple times. And that relationship is what allowed a very good football player, we saw him at the end of this year play, commit to Campbell, which was a surprise to many. And yet now he's a 3 or 4 star quarterback that set the tone for a lot of other players.
And those true freshmen that don't make an impact at FBS, they make an impact at FCS. As you said, we pretty much had a true freshman at every level on both the defense and the offense that made an impact, that played right away. You get another class of that, and you're starting to put together a very good team, which you need because, again, the CAA, as Coach Minner said, and I chuckled at first, but then you really start thinking about it, you're like, okay, he called it the SEC of FCS football, meaning it's a great league at the top. It's pretty darn good from top to bottom, and they've proved it by not only putting 5 teams in the FCS playoffs. They only get one automatic bid. 4 others got in, and a lot of them have been winning.
If you look at right now this weekend, William & Mary is still playing. New Hampshire, Richmond, Elon, and Delaware all played in the postseason.
Yeah.
Now, I get it. The Summit League with North Dakota State and the Missouri Valley in football, technically. But that league is right up there with them. But those 2 conferences are 1A and 1B as the best in FCS football. So now Campbell has to win, right? It's one thing to play in the Big South where it's Monmouth and Kennesaw and you're jostling for third place. Like, this league, you can finish fifth and be really good.
Yeah.
It's not, oh, man, Campbell finished fifth or sixth in the CA. What are they doing? It's, well, have you looked at the teams? Like, even the middle tier, Villanova, Monmouth. Monmouth's now a
former
middle tier.
national champion Villanova and back-to-back Big South champions Monmouth before they left. In the middle of the pack. Right
you have
now.
Albany and Maine that were playoff teams a year ago. They're in the bottom third. So, like, the topsy-turvy nature, William & Mary was not very good last year. And now they're 11-1. So,
and that's what he meant, too. Much like the SEC, as you know, every single week you're going to be playing a pretty good team, or at least a team that can get you what you see. So the FCS of the SEC coming soon here. All right, it's finals week, so we're out of information right now. What do you want for Christmas?
I need to pass my final first. I'm in a financial accounting class. The final, it's online asynchronous. It's due Saturday night at like 11:59 p.m.
Right.
So my goal is to finish the exam Saturday morning.
Okay.
Just so I have time. My Croatian national team, they're playing Friday in the World Cup.
Oh, that's right.
So I may be double screening action in the office. Don't tell my boss, but one screen on the soccer match. Remember, so our tradition with you and me and the crew was to go to March Madness at County Seat.
That's right.
And watch the noon games, kind of that noon to 2 window in the office and have lunch. So I do miss those days.
Yeah, yep, they are. All right.
When your boss, Jared Freeze, ordered a big 70-inch TV to watch HGTV, now he's at William & Mary, fittingly, with Ricky Ray and a lot of our...
Jared Turner, not Jared Freeze.
Oh, you're right.
Friend of the program who had a few comments about us talking about Southern Charm. So I will send him a link to where he can find it on the Bravo app, which, yes, that's on my TV as well. That's for another time. All right. Thanks, Evan. For Evan, I'm Chris. This is Camel Call Friday. Remember, Monday, we are going to be having a special Camel Call Live. We'll have both head basketball coaches and a mascot in Santa Garb. Don't miss it. Have a great weekend, everybody.